ready to go, Steve.
Okay, let's go. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming today. So the idea today is to introduce Libby, which is a service that we offer through the library for accessing ebooks and audiobooks from a smartphone, from a computer, through an e-reader, whatever electronic device you might use. We're going to do a little preamble where I'll talk about sort of Libby and how you can access it from different types of devices. And then the primary focus today is to show you what it looks like using the app and to show you what it looks like using the website, which you would use if you're on a computer. So there's a lot of different names for what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to use the word Libby as the primary name. Libby is technically the name of the app. The company which operates this service is called Overdrive, so you might hear the word overdrive used in reference to this. The Kellogg-Hubbard Library is a member of the Green Mountain Library Consortium, which is a group of 159 libraries throughout the state of Vermont who collectively pay for this service. So sometimes you will see Green Mountain Library Consortium used. And also Green Mountain Library Consortium also uses the term Listen Up Vermont. So there's a lot of different names, but we're talking about the same thing when we use any of those names. Currently, there's over 17,000 titles available to borrowers who use this service through the Green Mountain Library Consortium. And that is always growing. They always add new stuff. So this is an important slide. So depending on what you're using, you'll either be accessing it through the app or you'll be using the website. So if you have an Apple or Android phone or tablet, you want to download the Libby app, and I'll show you how to do that. If you're using it on a computer, you're going to just go through the website. It's really straightforward and easy. And there's a couple wild cards, which is if you have a Kindle Fire or if you have a Chromebook, there's another app just called Overdrive app that you would use for that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed an important thing. All right, let's do that.
Steve, I'm getting a note here that notice you.
Oh, okay. I think Michelle should be able to help with that.
Do you want me to do it? I don't want to drop it. Go ahead. Right here is where we check where the connection is coming from. No, not there. You have the Overdrive app. It should be going here and you can see. No, I just turn it on. Oh.
So, just going to wait a second, see if we can get everybody in the building connected to the Wi-Fi. Important step.
Okay. I'm not connected to any networks. There we go. That's the word. Oh, okay. Page that looks like that one connect. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Now you're connected. You can go back to what you're doing. That'll do it.
Michelle, can you just make sure I'm successfully sharing?
Yes. We have a question for downloading the app. Can we go to Google Play?
Yes. Yep, that's how you would do it if you're on an Android device. You would go to your Google Play Store and download the app.
I'm on Overdrive app. Is that where I would download it?
Yeah. Yes. So, are you on the Apple Store?
I'm not in the Apple Store. I see there's one that says that, and there's one that just says overdrive.com.
Oh, okay. So if you're on a computer, you don't have to worry about any sort of app. We'll just go right through a website. Yeah. So I'll just skip this slide real quick. If you're already here, you're presumably already interested in using ebooks and audiobooks, so I don't have to sell it to you. Some interesting things that happen to be available through Overdrive are listed here. You can do foreign language learning books and audiobooks. All your favorite mystery authors, if you're a big mystery reader, are definitely going to be there. There's local authors from Vermont, and there's also quite a lot of children's material too. So this is not just for adult readers. Definitely materials for all ages available. So first I'm going to go over using the app. So if you're going to be using a computer, you can kind of, you don't have to follow this part, but if you're using the app, if you're using a smartphone or if you're using a tablet, this is how you would access Libby. What you need to do first is download the app. So if you're on an Apple smartphone or tablet, you would go to your App Store. If you're on an Android smartphone or tablet, you would go to the Google Play Store, and you would search for an app called Libby by Overdrive. And you should see something like this pop up, and you want to download that. When you download it, it's going to take you through a process to add your library card and log you in. It's going to be a step-by-step process, and it's going to ask you, do you have a library card? And then it's going to ask you which library you belong to. I generally recommend using the search for a library function. However, it's going to give you multiple options, and you could choose another one if you want to. And then if you search for even just zip code, should bring up the Kellogg-Hubbard Library. It is going to bring it up as part of the Green Mountain Library Consortium, though. It's not a standalone user of Libby. It's part of a consortium. So if you see that, that is correct.
Steve, you're way ahead of me, and I haven't figured out where the app is.
Okay, so if you're on a computer, you don't need to use the app. The second part of the presentation is all about computers. So we'll go over how to do it with computers in a little bit. So this part isn't actually going to be directly applicable to what you're using.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I was using my cell phone, I could use this?
Yes, so if you're using it, absolutely. Yep. All right. So once you've found the Kellogg-Hubbard Library, it's going to ask you to put in your Kellogg-Hubbard Library card and also a password. And so if you're going to be using this service, no matter which way you're going to be doing it, you're going to need those two pieces of information. If you do not have your library card number or your password, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to get you that information so you can start using the service. But those are definitely things you are going to absolutely need. Yes.
Can we have more than one library, for example, from the university library and the local library?
Absolutely, you can. Yes. So that is an option. So what you would do for that is first you would log in with one, and then you would go into your settings, and there's an option to add a second library card. The nice thing about that is there is a limit on how many items you can check out on your one library card. If you have multiple library cards, you can check out more things because now you have multiple library cards. So that is definitely an option. All right. So when you're actually into the app and you're logged in, you've got your library card entered, there's two different ways you can actually find something that you'd like to borrow. There's a way to browse the collection, and then there's also a search function. At the bottom of the app screen, you'll always see these 5 options down here. And this one that I'm pointing to right here, this is the library, this is the collection. So no matter where you are in the app, you can always click on that symbol and it will take you back to the collection. If you want to browse the collection, when you click on that, it changes, it updates what you'll see. But what it's going to offer you is some browsing options. So what I've done here in these slides is I scrolled down a little bit until I found the guides. And then I just clicked on the mystery and thriller. Maybe that's what I'm interested in. And now it's giving me basically a nice long list of recommended mysteries and thrillers that I could go through and choose. In addition to these, there's other guides for teens and kids and business. There's also, there's usually seasonal guides. There's usually award-winning guides. And they update this and change this frequently. So it's always something, if you don't know a specific thing that you're looking for, you can always kind of go through this and get some recommendations. So after I clicked on the mystery and thriller, it gave me 110 suggested titles. But maybe I need something right now because I have a road trip and I want an audiobook to listen to right now. If I click on preferences, and then it will give me an option to change my preferences, and I can choose availability, and I can change it from everything to only what's available. So then I would only see what would be available, some things that I could check out immediately. And you can also see I could change it from the format from anything, which is going to show me both ebooks and audiobooks, to just audiobooks, if that's specifically what I was looking for. So those sort of options are always available to you. That's narrowing down your searches so you can really get what you want. And I'll point those out in the other ways too. So if you know specifically what you want, if you have an author in mind or a title in mind, you can just use the search function. The search function is the symbol in the bottom left, which looks like a magnifying glass. So if you click on that, it opens up a search screen. And you can type in an author, you can type in a title, you could also use a subject. So when you put in an author, I've done an author here, what it offers is some search suggestions, and I could click on that, and it's going to bring up everything that that author has done. I can also, that looks weird. I can also scroll down a little bit and click on this Explore with Filters. And this is kind of like similar to what I was saying before, where if I want Charlotte Bronte, but I only want audiobooks, if I click on that, it's going to limit my search results just to audiobooks. And that's a way that I can specifically see that. And then once I've actually hit enter or hit the little magnifying glass, it will give me my search results. And with the app, you would scroll up to look through all of them. So here I got 15 books and one audiobook, and I could just scroll up and I would systematically see all those search results. So we've browsed the collection, we've searched the collection, now we've actually found something that we want. So this is how we would actually borrow it. So it's 5 easy steps. So in my search results, I see the title and I see the author, I see the little picture of the cover, and then I have options next to that which say borrow, read sample, or tag. So if I want to borrow the book, I click on borrow. And now this is an important screen, this next one. It's basically asking, are you sure you want to borrow this book? And this part right here is really important. The maximum number of days you can borrow a book for is 14. So if you get to this screen and you see you are borrowing, and I will say the title, for 7 days, it might default to 7. You can change that to 14 if you want the longer time period. You would just click on where it says 7 days, and it will give you an option to change it to 14. Now, once you've got the correct number of days that you want to borrow the item for, then you can click on borrow at the bottom of the screen, and it will actually give you the book at that point. So you've borrowed the book for the 14 days. It gives you a confirmation screen. Now, if I wanted to, I can go back to browsing. I can go look for something else to borrow, or I can go right to my shelf, and I can start reading immediately. The nice thing about Libby is it's all contained. You do all your searching for what you want in Libby, and then you actually, once you find something and borrow it, you read it right in the app, or you listen to it right in the app. So if I click on Go to Shelf, I can see in my shelf what I have borrowed, what my loans are, and then that will give me an option to open in Libby, and I can start reading right away. So audiobooks is a very similar process. When you find the audiobook that you'd like, there's a borrow option. You would click on that. You would explain that you would choose the number of days that you want to borrow the item for, and then you click on borrow at the bottom of the screen. And then once you've got the confirmation that you've borrowed it, you can click on Go to Shelf, and you can open the audiobook and start listening right away if that's what you choose. All right, so Even though we're talking about electronic books and audiobooks, it can be a situation where something that you want is not currently available, but you could place a hold on it. So that's common in the physical library with physical books. That sort of makes sense. Something's not physically here. But with the ebooks and audiobooks, what we're really dealing with is the licenses. So the Green Mountain Library Consortium purchases a certain number of licenses for each title. So it's possible that all those licenses are checked out and you have to go on a wait list to get the next one. So if you want to place a hold on something, when you find an item that you're interested in, you'll see an option that will, if it doesn't say borrow where you normally see borrow, it will say place a hold. So that means that you can't get it right now, but you could get it later. So all you have to do is say place hold. It will ask you to confirm, just like the borrowing screen, and you would confirm that you want to place the hold. And then after you've placed the hold, if you go to your shelf, you have options in your shelf to see what you have currently checked out and also what you have on hold. If you click on the holds, it will actually give you an estimated wait time for the item. So that can be handy. You know, do you really want to wait 6 weeks for this? Or, you know, does that not matter to you? So you can kind of choose, is this still something you're interested in with this wait time? But you may run into that with searching for certain items where you have to put something on hold because it's currently checked out. I don't want to get too deep into settings just because this is sort of an introductory presentation, but know that your settings are available where you can customize things like what will download, and do you want things to automatically download? Do you want things to only download if you're connected to Wi-Fi? If you're on a cell phone, maybe you don't want to use your cellular data to download something. You can change your notification preferences. So that what that means is, so let's say you put something on hold, you can choose to have Libby send you an email when your hold is ready. So you can then go into the app and download it and start reading your book. Or you can choose not to have it if you don't want to get that email. So you have all these sort of customization things. You can customize your navigation. So what that means is if you only ever want to see audiobooks because that's all you want, you can change it so that that's the only thing it will show you. So you have all these options in your settings. Your settings are available in the at the bottom of the screen, that middle symbol that looks like a person's head behind a book. That's how you get to your settings. And you can change all of those sorts of things. So the last two symbols that you see at the bottom of the Libby app, the one that looks like some books is your shelf. So you can see what you have currently checked out, and you can see what you have on hold. In your shelf, you can see how long you have something out for. So if it's due back in 2 days or whatever, it will say so. You can choose, if you click on Manage Loan, you could return something early. So you have a maximum number of things you could check out. If you hit that max, if you want to return something early so that you can get something else, that's how you would do that. It's also where you would go, like I said before, to actually open the item so you could read it or listen to it. And then the next to that is the timeline, which is basically your history. You can see what you've checked out in the past if you have any interest in knowing that. So if you're ever having some issues with the app, I would certainly recommend contacting us. Any of us here at the library would be happy to help you kind of work through that. If you are unable to download something, there's two questions that I always sort of try to figure out if that is the issue, which is that, is your app up to date? So Libby, like any other app, has occasional updates. You need to make sure that that has been done. And also, you have a connection to the Wi-Fi. If you have your settings set so that you only download when you're connected to a Wi-Fi, that could be an issue with why you're not able to download something. If you're unable to log in, you need to make sure that your library card number is correct, and also has your library card expired. So library cards at the Kellogg-Hubbard Library expire once a year, and you might get a message from Libby saying your card is expired. All you have to do is call us or email us, and we can fix that for you real easy. It's a very easy correction. And then if you want to return something early and you can't, again, check to make sure you're still connected to the Wi-Fi. That's probably the most likely issue. All right. So what I'm going to do at this point is switch over to the website. So if you're accessing Libby through a computer, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like for you. All the same functionality as what you have in the app, but it just looks a little different. So I'll show you how that looks. All right. Okay. So right now I'm at the Kellogg-Hubbard website, which is just kellogg-hubbard.org. And there's a menu bar that runs across the horizontal top of the web page, and one of the options says digital, and under digital the first option says ebooks and audiobooks. So I'll click on that and it will open up this page here. So to get to Libby, to get to the ebook and audiobook lending service, all I need to do is just click on this symbol here with the smiling face on it, and that will actually open up the website itself.
You have to go to the, you're going to start, I think, with the Kellogg-Hubbard library. Oh, yeah.
Telling me to sign in?
Yes. Yep.
Sign in with my...
So you'll be signing in with your
Okay.
Kellogg-Hubbard library card. Yep.
And this is what he was talking about when you go across and you hit digital. Oh. Okay. And then the first one down.
Okay.
Just weird on me. That's where
All right. Is everybody who's here with me at the same place now? Or everybody's screen looks something like this? Good? All right. So this is the Green Mountain Library Consortium's Libby website. We want to start by signing in. So I'll click on sign in here in the top right. So first it's going to ask me to choose my library. These are all the 150 something libraries, mostly public libraries in the state, but also some school libraries. And if I just start typing in Kellogg-Hubbard, that option will come up, and I will choose Kellogg-Hubbard Library. And then I'm going to type in my library card number. So your library card number on the back of your library card is a 14-digit number. It's typed out on the back of your card with some spaces. You want to leave those spaces out and just type it in directly. So I will type in my library card number here. And it's also going to ask for a password. So when you have your library card created, there's also a default password that you're given. If you don't know what your password is, or if you've forgotten, just reach out to us, phone or email, or stop by the library, and we can set you up with a new password. It's really easy, and once you know your password, you enter it into your password field, and then you should be good to sign in. All right, so I know I was successful in signing in because I no longer see the sign in option here. Now instead it says my account. So I am now successfully signed in. So, like I said before, all the same functionalities as Libby, just presented in a different way. So if I knew specifically what I wanted and I could search, I would just click on this search option here to do that. So if I'm looking for a specific book, I can type in title and just hit enter. So I got 3 results for this particular search. So I see there's just technically 2 editions of Wuthering Heights, and then this one, I did this before just to do some research, and this is a sort of modern, inspired by Wuthering Heights, a modern novel inspired by Wuthering Heights. So that's why that popped up. So important pieces of information that you find in your search results. At the very top, you'll see whether or not the item is currently available. So I can see these 3 items are currently available. I could borrow these right now. If it wasn't available, it would say wait list, and I could choose to put my name on the holds list if that were the case. And then a little further down, I can see the format. So here I've got the title, the author, and then it's going to tell me the format. In this case, I've did one ebook, another ebook, and then this is an audiobook. So that's how I can know if if specifically looking for the ebook, I can know that I'm getting the right thing, or vice versa if I wanted the audiobook. And then at the bottom is my borrow option. And like I said before, if this said waitlist at the top, it would say place hold instead of borrow. So my options on the side here, these are sort of my limiters, my filters. If I wanted to only see what's available now, if I had a big long list of 100 results, I could choose available now and it would only show me what's currently available. Likewise, I could choose just to see ebooks or just audiobooks if that was specifically what I was looking for. So that's how I would narrow down those search results. So sort of the biggest difference between the website and Libby is the way that they have the browse function. I actually like it on the website a little bit better, but if I wanted to browse in the website, there's a couple different ways I can do that. I can click on collections here, and then under collections, I can see I have the option to look at just newly added ebooks, just ebooks that are currently available, and you can see there's also some specific collections for kids and teens. I can look at just what's popular. I particularly like the available now option. Same choices for audiobooks. I find that fairly handy just to see what's currently available if I need to get something right now. The other option that I have is I can also click on subjects. And then in subjects, if I want a particular, say I like mysteries and thrillers, I can just choose mysteries and just get those, which is handy too. And then if I do choose on mysteries here, so I can see, right, the first 4 options I can see here, all waitlisted. Well, I want something right now, so I can go over to the left into the menu, and I can just see what's available now, and that will update that. There we go. So now I can borrow something immediately if I want to. All right, so let's actually borrow and download something.
Are you back in collections? Where are you?
So, all right.
How do you get the borrow?
So I could borrow right from here if I found something that I wanted. Let's say I wanted this book. I could just choose borrow right here to do that.
Oh, I see. Sure.
Yep. So I'll do this one. Okay, so now I get a pop-up screen, and this is the confirmation screen similar to what you saw in Libby, just presented a little differently. It's asking how long I want to borrow the item for, so I have the choice of 7 or 14 days. I'll choose 14, and then I'll confirm that I want to borrow the item. And now I get a confirmation screen. Now, because we're on the computer and we're not on Libby, it does present some different options. We can read now in browser. So if you're on a computer and you're connected to the internet through Wi-Fi, you don't actually have to download anything. You can just stream it, essentially. If you wanted to transfer this to an e-reader, you could choose, depending on what type of e-reader you had. If you had a Kindle, you could do Read Now with Kindle. And if you had an e-reader that wasn't an Amazon Kindle, you could download the EPUB book. And basically that downloads the file, which you could then transfer into your e-reader. I'll go through these different options, but first I want to start with Read Now in browser, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So again, if you're just using this on a computer and you don't need to actually download anything, in that case, so you can choose Read Now in browser. And this is what it looks like. You can just use the arrows on your keyboard to navigate through. You can also just click if you want to just go right to a chapter. you can use that. If you click at the bottom of the screen, it opens up some different options for you, so you can navigate by chapter, and you could just go right to a specific page if you wanted to. And then there's also these options at the top. And what these give you is layout options. So I can click on this if I want to change it from 2 columns to 1 big column. I can change the way that the text is displayed. So I can make the text bigger or smaller. I can also choose, so in this case, I'm looking at a black background with white text. I could do the opposite if I wanted to. All right. So you have some nice options. These same options are available in Libby as well. So you can do all of these things in Libby. You can place a bookmark. That's what this symbol in the corner is if you want to remember this particular page. You can also search. So if you had read this book and I remember a particular line of dialogue or something, you can do a search and it will bring you right to that spot.
There's a question, does the format work well on all e-readers?
That's a great question. There's a lot of e-readers out there. I would say probably. When you are using an e-reader, it's going to give you the option, and unfortunately this isn't a universal option, but most of the ebooks that are available through Libby are going to have either a Kindle format or an EPUB format. So depending on what type of e-reader you have, you need to know if it's a Kindle, you obviously download the Kindle format, and if it's anything else, you would do the EPUB. The EPUB should work on just about anything that's not a Kindle. We've sort of been in e-readers for like 15 years now, so there's a lot of different options out there for e-readers. And if you ever ran into an issue with your particular e-reader and the EPUB format, definitely contact us and let us know. We could try to figure something out. The Kindle formats definitely work fine. They'll work with any type of Kindle Paperwhite or whatever Kindle version you have. And when you do download a particular title, all those sort of options that I was just showing through the Read Now in browser, those sort of become specific to the e-reader. So Kindle offers basically those same, change the text size, change the background, all that kind of stuff. And most e-readers do as well. So you can do all that kind of stuff. All right.
So I just followed you through and borrowed a book that I don't really want.
Okay.
So then what?
Okay, let me show you how to get rid of it. All right. So up here at the top of the screen, I have this sort of symbol that sort of looks like 3 books on a bookshelf. If I click on that, it's going to show what I have checked out. And then, so here I see this book I just checked out. It tells me when it's going to be returned. The returns are automatic. You don't have to do anything. It will just automatically return the item itself. And at the bottom is if I want to return it early, I can click on return. And it will ask me if I really want to do that. And I can say yes. And there you go.
I got it.
All right, good. Yes.
Do you have to download an ebook to listen to it away from Wi-Fi?
Yes, you do. So, you could stream over cellular. I'm not sure that would be the best option depending on what your data plan is. So I definitely recommend downloading. If you're on any sort of device where you're not consistently on Wi-Fi, I recommend downloading for ebooks and audiobooks. It's just going to ensure that the actual book or audiobook is on your device so you can access it from wherever you are, whatever the Wi-Fi situation is.
And this is probably, I don't know if it's a silly question. You download it, and then they take it back in 14 days, and you're not cluttering up your computer's memory space?
It's going to take a little bit of memory. These aren't giant files, though. So there could be a situation if you tried to download something and it didn't. It could be a situation where your device is maxed out in memory. But I would say these are not giant files by any means. Even the large audiobooks don't take up that much space. Yeah.
Steve, I'm still very, very confused about all this, but, it says here that I can do Kindle.
Mhm.
Can I do Kindle?
If you have a Kindle, yes.
I don't have a Kindle.
Okay, don't worry about that then.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
know. And, what else? There were some other peculiars. I just didn't know what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Right. So on the website on the computer, so if you had a Kindle or if you had another type of e-reader, this is how you would find it and get it to that device. So when you find a book that you want to borrow on the website, it's going to ask you, do you want the Kindle version? Do you want the EPUB version? Or do you just want to read it now in the browser? Most likely you're going to want to read it now in the browser if you're just going to use your computer. You don't have to worry about downloading it or anything like that. But if you wanted to transfer the book to a Kindle or to some other type of e-reader, you'd want to choose the Kindle format or the EPUB format. So if you don't have either of those, you don't have to worry about either of those options.
Another question.
Yeah.
Would this work if you're on a plane?
Well, that would be a situation where you would want to download it because you wouldn't have access to Wi-Fi unless you paid for the plane Wi-Fi. So you would probably want to download it if you're going to be on a plane.
Yeah. Then the other question is, can I use this in another country?
Sure. Yep.
Doesn't matter where you are.
And no, as long as you have an internet connection, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So the questions were, can I use this on a plane? And I would suggest downloading your ebook or audiobook, even if you're on a computer, if you plan on using it on a plane, just because of the plane Wi-Fi is bad and you have to pay for it. So just save yourself the trouble. And then the other question was, can I use this in another country? And absolutely, as long as you have an internet connection, you can access this from anywhere. So yeah, absolutely.
Another question? If you use a phone and an iPad, can you go between devices with the same book and does it remember where you are?
Yes and yes, it will definitely do that. You can use this on many devices, and you can, as long as you log in with the same library card and password, it will remember what books you're reading, where you are in those books. It will do all that syncing for you. All right, so let me show you what it looks like to do an audiobook on the website. All right, so I've done a search for the title that I wanted. It happens to be available in both the audiobook and the ebook format. I want the audiobook, so I'll choose borrow. I want to change to 14 days. And now, you're not going to get the three options like you do in most ebooks of Kindle, EPUB, or read in browser, like you do with ebooks. With audiobooks, it's just going to be, do you want to download this, or do you just want to listen to it? So if I choose listen now in browser, it's just going to stream it over the Wi-Fi, no download, no files on the computer itself. If I was going to take this on a plane, I would want to choose to download it. But I'll choose, in this case, because I'm just connected to Wi-Fi already, I'll just do listen in browser. And this is what the audiobook listening function looks like. It's really simple. You can just hit play and it will start. And you can
a room with a view.
Navigate by chapters if so you choose, and can also skip ahead. Different options for you. This is a nice one if you listen to audiobooks at night. You can choose to basically have it preset to end either at the end of a chapter or at the end of a certain amount of time if you know you might fall asleep while listening to it. And you can also change the playback speed. Some people like to listen to them a little faster if that's your option.
There's a question about if it does closed captioning.
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't think so. Huh. I'm not aware that it does. Good question.
Can you repeat the question?
The question was, is there closed captioning available for audiobooks? And I don't believe that that's the case.
Okay, when I try to download it, it says you need Google Drive app.
For that, that's interesting. I will take a look at that after and see. I don't think you should need to, but I'll take a look. Okay.
I've got another. Okay, so I'm not going to be using Kindle, but Overdrive is what we are using. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else that we could use on our?
On the computers, okay. On the computer, you just need access to the website. You just need, that's all you need for the computer. If you're on so ostensibly, if you're on a smartphone that has access to the internet, you could access it through the website just like we're doing right now. The reason why they made an app is it's going to display a little bit better on your phone screen. It's designed for that device. So I do recommend that people who are using things like smartphones and tablets to actually use the app. It's just going to make your life a little bit easier. But if you're on a computer, all you have to worry about is getting access to the website, and then you have everything you need right there. Good. All right. So I talked a little bit about settings when I was going through the slides and talking about the app. If you want to access your settings on the website, under My Account, you have your settings options here. And so you can see you can preset default loan periods. You can change all sorts of various things. So that's where you find your settings on the website. All right. And one last thing. I just want to make sure I cover both things equally. If you want to put a hold on something on the website, this is what it's going to look like. So here, I search for an item. It's not available. It says wait list. And then I can choose place a hold. And here it's saying I'm number 6. They only have one license for this particular audiobook. So I'm number 6 in line. And I can choose, or actually, I've already successfully placed the hold. It's also telling me that it's going to send an email to me when the hold is ready, which is nice. And then if I change my mind, if I no longer needed or wanted that book, I could go to my shelf and then I can click on holds and I can remove the hold. So my wait time would be 12 weeks, so I'm not sure I want to wait that long. I can remove the hold. All right. So this was a very fast and very speedy introduction to everything. The idea is just to kind of get everybody going, get everybody started. So I would have 2 kind of general recommendations. If you hit any bumps in the road, reach out to us, phone call, email, stop by the library. Anybody at the library should be able to help you out. The other is you can't break it, so just play around with it. Yeah.
There's a question about the difference between suspend and remove hold.
Sure. So if you suspended a hold, what that does is basically saying, I don't want it right now, but I'm probably going to want it later. So I suspend the hold for a blank period of time and then make my hold active again after that. So if you were sort of planning out your various reads and listens and you didn't want that particular book for, say, a month, you could suspend the hold for a month and then get it later. It keeps you in line, though, so it's not like if you suspend your hold and there is a long line for that book, you might still have to wait even after your hold becomes active. But if it's something that nobody else is waiting for, you could get it in a month because you were the only person waiting. If that makes any sense.
Can you go back to the syncing that you mentioned?
Sure. So if you borrow a book through the website, say, and then you download the Libby app on your smartphone, and you should, once you log in to the Libby app with the same library card number, it should know what you borrowed on the website and vice versa. That happens automatically. You don't actually have to do anything to make that happen as long as you're using the same library card.
And will it remember where I am in a book?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
I've got another funny question. They have two different categories for books, and it says, basically adult and then senior.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
Okay, so the question is, what is the category of senior books? I don't know.
It might be a large text already.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with what the senior category is.
To me, it's sort of like adult, and then more adults.
Yeah.
I wondered if they were X-rated books.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. Are there any more questions from the folks watching online?
I'm gonna have to just work at it, and then I'll have lots of questions.
Oh, good. Okay.
Excuse me.
Now, one person just said, thanks, great intro to Libby, great.
Good. I'm glad. If you know anybody else who's interested and maybe missed this, we're going to be posting this as a video. And you can also, some people like to do these sorts of in-person things, but some people don't. You can always send someone into the library for a quick one-on-one. I'm happy to work with anybody. Let me bring up my contact information again. So feel free to reach out to me, phone or email, or just stop in the library. I'm usually here, and I'm happy to work with anybody if you have any questions.
Oh,